What's going on, everybody? C4 here today, bringing you the newest Philadelphia Eagles mock draft. We have done 5 of these so far, and this is edition number 6. I don't think I'll do more than 7, definitely no more than 8, but this may be the second to last, the penultimate Eagles mock draft. Like I said, you don't want to go too crazy with these things because I'm in love with certain prospects and I'm comfortable. I don't want to get really repetitive. But, you know, today with Sidney Jones getting hurt and he was on a lot of Eagles mock drafts, you could almost honestly say that Sidney Jones' injury mostly affects the Philadelphia Eagles because he was almost a consensus pick for the Philadelphia Eagles. And I certainly agree with it. He is an absolute stud. And now, you know, he's probably, if I'm going to guess, I think Sidney Jones is probably going to be in the 3rd round. He's not. He should be completely off the Philadelphia Eagles board, really, because the team that's going to be able to draft Sidney Jones is going to be a team that doesn't need immediate corner help now. Maybe they have an aging secondary, or, you know, they have good guys right now and they want to be, you know, overstacked next year. But it's going to look, I'm going to probably put good money that Sidney Jones won't see the field until 2018. And we don't have the luxury in Philadelphia. We need guys that can play and can test right now. So in mock draft 6, I put out on Twitter, if you guys want me to do trades and stuff or anything like that, I'd find that trade mock drafts are way too hard. It's not bad if you're doing just a first round mock draft because you don't really have to worry about the back end. When you're trying to do a full 7 rounds, you never know what the exact compensation is going to be. I mean, you can find out the value of every single pick. Like we're roughly like a mid first, like for example, the Philadelphia Eagles first round pick of a team like the Saints who pick at 31, the cost to move up is a 1st and 2nd round, but you don't know if it's going to be a 1st and 2nd round this year or a 1st and 2nd round next year. So I have a mock draft all made up that does have trades that I could release somewhat soon because it's not too different, but I have a mock draft that has some trades already done up, but I'm kind of not feeling like I want to record it. But if you guys want to see it, I could sure as hell let that roll and have it to you guys out, if not sometime this week, sometime early next week. But here's my mock draft. I feel pretty confident with the mock draft. I saw Daniel Jeremiah just releases a couple hours ago, and he's a guy that I have currently in the 3rd round, going in the 1st round, but everything, it looks like, he just overreached, and I kind of called out Daniel Jeremiah on Twitter because I know he definitely was affected by what I said, and said that, man, his mock draft looks different for the sake of being different, and that's what is one of the worst things right now around draft time, is all these draft experts have to continuously come out with different mock drafts, and it can't be the same thing over and over again, no matter what their true feelings are, because no one wants to watch that. You have to make it different, and I find, like, around this time, when the guys are getting ready for their 3rd, 4th, and 5th mock drafts, they try to be different for the sake of being different, and I hate the shit out of that, so you're going to see what happens when we talk about them in the 3rd round. So anyways, with number 14, in the 1st round, now with Sidney Jones hurt, I have the Philadelphia Eagles taking Gareon Conley, the corner from Ohio State. I think he can come in right now and immediately compete for cornerback 1 with Sidney Jones being injured. Now it really comes... It is a reach. I think Gareon Conley at 14 is a bit of a reach, even though he had a very good combine. I would say right now looked the best in all of the on-field drills at the combine than any other corner, and that's including the Marshawn Lattimore's, even though he did get he was kind of banged up with his hamstring. I don't even think he actually fucking did the drills, to be honest with you. But even with Sidney Jones and other guys there. And then, there's a bunch of corners we can consider. I mean, Philadelphia have already scheduled a visit with Marlon Humphrey. And I do think while Marlon Humphrey's tape was inconsistent, he is a great fit for a Jim Schwartz team, predominantly better in zone than in man. And I would say Jim Schwartz kind of runs a bunch of everything, but for the most part, he's going to need our corners to be able to get in run support and really be effective starting in zone coverage, which is usually easier than man coverage in the transition from college to the pros. But I think Conley is my favorite prospect, but ideally, I would try to trade down with the Philadelphia Eagles because I think Conley will be available at the back end of the draft. Corners around Conley's talent that I'd be all right having, like a Tre'davious White, Marlon Humphrey. I think those guys potentially could be there later, but then again, you never know with the Sidney Jones injury. That really could have drastically shooken up the cornerback big boards, if you will, amongst the league. And now corners could be going earlier than so much later. Every team's want to get their corner early rather than waiting for the 2nd and 3rd round. So I'm going to have to go right now with Gareon Conley. He is the corner that I'm most comfortable with. I wouldn't be upset. Really, and I don't think we can go wrong with it. I think the only corner that is in 1st round discussion that I would be kind of upset with, looking at, just give me a second. Let me pop up the draft tracker so I can give you guys my honest opinion. I think Fabian Moreau from UCLA would be a little bit of a reach. Both of the Florida Gator corners I think would be a bit of a reach at 14. And same could go for Tankersley. Those probably be it. Everyone else is pretty much consistent 2nd round pick, and I think Gareon Conley, 6 feet tall, 195 pounds, great fit, would be a good scheme fit for us, and can compete to start day 1. Moving on to the 2nd round, number 43, Joe Mixon. Running back, Oklahoma. You look at our offense right now, and you just see if we had a good, elite playmaking running back, this offense, now with Alshon Jeffrey, now with Torrey Smith, Torrey Smith, lesser effect, but Alshon Jeffrey, Jordan Matthews, Torrey Smith, that is as competitive. Like right now, Eagles, I'm not going to come out and say Eagles instantly have the best wide receiving core in the NFC East, but they certainly have a wide receiving core, if healthy, that can certainly compete with the Dallas Cowboys and the New York Giants. I guess you kind of have to give credit to the Redskins as well. We just don't know what's going on with Josh Doxson. But, they have as good of a... right now, Carson Wentz has a plentiful of weapons. And with Darren Sproles as a compliment Mac, what guy can we get in the second round that is a true difference maker? Foreman, we're going to have to wait and see what he runs at his pro day. But again, not exactly the best scheme fit in a Doug Peterson offense. We need to have good hands. So looking in the second round, what running back might be there that has good hands? Alvin Kamara maybe, but he ran a pretty shit 40 time. Almost a 4.6 40 for a guy that's 215 pounds and looks faster. He certainly plays faster in pads than he does right there. But I personally am not a big fan of Alvin Kamara. McCaffrey could potentially be there, but I fully expect McCaffrey to be gone in the top end of the second round. So then you have Joe Mixon, who I think right now the consensus is a third, fourth round pick, somewhere between there. But if you really want him, what is the point of waiting around? If you made the moral decision that you're fine selecting Joe Mixon on your roster, why wait? Go and get him in the second round. He will complete our offense next year. I think we have Joe Mixon. We have the most well-rounded offense we have had since the goddamn Deshaun Jackson, Jeremy Maclin, Chip Kelly in his prime days. So you have to go and get Joe Mixon. I know there is the moral dilemma, but if you can look past that, which the NFL so often does, and I guarantee any Eagle fan that's, oh my God, I'm going to boycott the games, just let Joe Mixon come in, fucking for the first 3 games, get 100 and some plus yards total through the air and on the ground, and it'll quickly go behind. The same exact thing happened to Tyreek Hill. What Tyreek Hill did was probably worse. I think what Tyreek Hill did was worse than what Joe Mixon did. It's not a competition. They both did fucking terrible things. But Tyreek Hill, again, was probably the best player on the Kansas City Chiefs offense, and everyone forgot what happened in his questionable pass. Because you got to give these guys a second chance. If Tyreek Hill fucks up again, everyone's going to, kind of bring up the bad history, and he's probably going to struggle a lot to maintain and stay on the field. Same will go with Joe Mixon, but that is a gamble I am willing to take, that he will learn his lesson, and now that he's in a professional environment, he'll smarten the fuck up, and I think you have to go Joe Mixon in the second round. So maybe third round if you really want to be ballsy and you can get a read about the rest of the league. I'd be fine getting Joe Mixon in the third round, which he might still be there. But personally, if he's your guy, if he's the guy that you think can be the dynamic playmaker in your backfield, go after him right now. Now, jumping to the third round, number 74, I have Kevin King, the corner from Washington. Again, I think this is the guy I was talking about that Daniel Jeremiah had him going to. I think he was going late first round. Currently, he's projected to probably be a second, third round pick. I think he may slip. Third round's being a little bit generous at the given time, but I just think with the depth at cornerback, with guys especially like Awuzie and Teez Tabor and Jordan Lewis not having the best combines, I think there's going to be a logjam in the second round for corners, and some of these guys are going to slip a little bit, and really, there's going to be a bunch of guys here. It is pretty ambitious. I wouldn't say pretty ambitious, but it's slightly ambitious to assume that Kevin King may still be here. 6'3", 200 pounds. Had a very, very good combine. I think he can come in right now and compete for a cornerback 2 spot. A couple other corners that may be available here that I like is Ahkello Witherspoon from Colorado, Cam Sutton from Tennessee. You always got to shout out Rasul Douglas from West Virginia, and potentially Adoree Jackson. You can't go wrong. I think the third round right now as it stands will be the money round for corners to get the guys that are overvalued. I think that the second round there's going to be plenty of good second round level corners, but I think the third round is where some guys are going to drop just because other teams have other needs. And these guys should have been in other drafts. Probably would have been off the board in the second round, but they still will be there. So I think Kevin King will be that guy. But you never know. Again, with the injury to Sidney Jones, you just don't know exactly how that shakes up every other team's draft board. Some teams may say, an Achilles will be fine. Let's get him. He's going to be a steal. We can get him in the second round. So obviously, you just don't know how the draft boards are going to reshuffle because of this. So right now, I have Kevin King, but this pick is very fluid, and I expect it to change potentially by the time we do mock draft 7. But as it stands right now, Kevin King, we're going corner in the third round if this is how the draft plays out. And I'd say right now it's between King, Witherspoon, and Sutton and Douglas. There's 4 guys. I'd be happy with all of them. Moving on to the fourth round, our first of 2 fourth-round picks. At number 118, I have us going after Trey Hendrickson, defensive end from Florida Atlantic. I think he could come in right now immediately and compete for the defensive end 3 spot, and that is tremendous value getting him in the 4th round, at the top of the 4th round. I think we'd have to get him with our higher pick, but he was 6'4", 266 pounds, ran a 4.640 in the combine. Didn't participate in the bench press, but I mean, this guy here is a great athletic monster that we can pair off the edge, have him coming in as top depth. Really it'd be him and Marcus Smith, I would assume, competing for the two outside defensive spots. But this is also just because obviously we need to reload a little bit on defensive line with Benny Logan, obviously not the same position, and Connor Barwin gone. But you always have to, I think you need to be prepared in case not Benny Logan, but Vinny Curry doesn't work out. We don't know yet. Vinny Curry has never really an official starter. I think he's obviously going to be pegged to be the starter in that right now. But we don't know what the consistency maybe is going to be. Maybe Vinny Curry is a career-long just coming in for special blitz packages, and that's it. He's never going to be a full-on starter, which would be super unfortunate because of the money we paid him. So I think because you need to cover your ass, and it's never too bad to have too many pass rushers, especially in a Jim Schwartz scheme where it really relies on the front four being able to get pressure. I think a prospect with a lot of upside like Trey Hendrickson would be a phenomenal pick here at pick number 118. Then with our second, fourth round pick, I still think we need to address wide receiver higher than later. So with number 139, I was going after Carlos Henderson, the wide receiver from Louisiana Tech. He could come in right away and compete with Aguilar and DGB for snaps as our wide receiver 4. I think last year he had the most missed tackles forced, I guess. Obviously, he made the most guys miss the most tackles on him. He's a phenomenal playmaker. He looks like a running back once he gets the ball in his hands, and he has very solid hands after having a spectacular season last year with Louisiana Tech. And, it is an air raid offense, but I think realistically in terms of air raid offenses, you really have to kind of consider Carlos Henderson right after Zay Jones in terms of guys that really put up video game-like numbers in college, and I think they can make a home in the NFL. Another potential pick in the fourth round that I do like is Kenny Golladay from Northern Illinois, 6'4", 220 pounds, ran a pretty good 40. I think he'd be a solid prospect to look at. But I think Carlos Henderson more fits the kind of utility, unique, game-changing player that Doug Pearson really wants in his offense. Going to the fifth round at pick number 155, out of the Philadelphia Eagles, go after Eddie Vanderdoes, defensive tackle from UCLA. I think with Eddie Vanderdoes, always been a big fan of him. More of a, space eater than a guy that will be able to put immediate pressure on the quarterback. But I think he helped himself with a very nice combine. He has had trouble staying healthy, so obviously the injuries might have to come and creep up on him. And it hurt his stock a little bit. But at 6'3", 305 pounds, ran a 4.99 40, put up 28 on the bench press. He kind of does everything that we lost in Benny Logan. I think he potentially, in year 2, in 2018, could eventually take and surpass Bo Allen for the second defensive tackle to play along for the Fletcher Cox. I think he's a phenomenal compliment. And I'm just kind of looking here at the defensive tackle spot. What can we get? What player kind of resembles what we're losing, because he now has gone to the Kansas City Chiefs, in Benny Logan. And I think that is Eddie Vanderdoes, who currently is projected to be around this 5th round. I think he'd be a great pickup for the Philadelphia Eagles to come in day 1 and compete for the top defensive tackle depth. Going to pick number 6 in the 6th round, 194th overall. This has been consistent my last 2 picks. Is Jalen Reeves-Maybin, outside linebacker from Tennessee. I think he'd come in right away to compete for outside linebacker 3 and 4. It's realistically who you're going to put him with. Najee Good, Steven Means. I don't know who the fuck right now is going to be at the top of the depth chart as outside linebacker. But I think with Jalen Reeves-Maybin, he had a very solid combine for what he was able to do. Realistically, I only really paid attention when he was doing his on-field drills. He looked very smooth. What you get with Jalen Reeves-Maybin is essentially the positives and negatives that we get with Michael Kendricks. He's not the biggest guy, 6 feet tall, 230 pounds. Can initially miss with tackles, but he's phenomenal back in coverage. Can make his fair play at tackles behind the line of scrimmage. And I think with a good pro day, he's probably healthy enough to test at his pro day. He should be a solid potential project like outside linebacker, and I think he'd be a phenomenal pick. Currently projected to go in the 6th, 7th round. I'd be all over him at the 6th to bring in some more linebacking depth. And to finish with the draft with the 7th round pick number 230, I have JoJo Mathis. Joe Mathis, the edge rusher. I don't know necessarily if he'd be an outside linebacker or defensive end in our scheme. He is a project in every sense of the word. Paid very limited in amount of playing time at the University of Washington. Had a season really cut short of injury. But when he was on the field, he looked like one of the best players on a very, very, very good Washington Husky defense. I think he'd be able to come in and compete for a roster spot. Worst case scenario, if he's not 100% healthy, we can throw him on the practice squad. But I think he's a low-key guy that you can get in the 7th round, kind of like a Tyler Matakevich last year at the linebacking spot. That is a lot of upside and will probably make the roster just because of his athletic ability. And I'd like to see him do it. Wouldn't be upset. Obviously, we can latch on him and at least throw him on the practice squad. But I think he probably will get drafted here in the 7th round. I'd be all over it. Like I said, much with the Trey Hendrickson pick, the more pass rushers you can get, the better in a Jim Schwartz defense, because that is really the bread and butter. Everything goes through the pass rush of the front four, and the more guys you can have. We saw last year, he loves to rotate those guys. How many times do you see Destiny Vaya, for example, just off the top of my head, he came in and got a bunch of sacks as an undrafted free agent. So if you're a great pass rusher, you're going to get plenty of playing time in the Jim Schwartz team, and I think a guy like Joe Mathis is a guy that I want to gamble on his upside and see what he can do. So there you go, guys. There is my 6 official Eagles mock draft. Let me know what you guys think about it in the comment section below. You feel free to shoot your own. Like I said, I don't know if you guys really want me to do my other mock draft, which has, I'm going to say right now, I have no Joe Mixon in case Philadelphia has him off his boards, and there is trades involved. I can have that out probably by the end of the week, early next week, if you guys really want to see that. But I don't want to do too many mock drafts and get you guys sick of them or anything. But I am planning at least to have one more funnel mock draft that will come out probably the day or day before the official NFL draft. But let me know what you guys think. As always, if it's your first time stopping by, don't be afraid to hit that subscribe button. Trying to be the most popular Eagles channel on YouTube. It's going to be that boy C445 saying smash the like button if you enjoyed. And until next time, peace out.